Thank you, everyone. Uh, Great to see you. Thank you, appreciate you. First of all, I want to say how delightful it is to be back here. I come to Long Island as often as I can, and truly appreciate the opportunity to be the first suburban governor ever, meaning I come from the suburbs. I was elected in the suburbs, and so I understand the suburbs. And, you know, my appreciation for local officials runs deep, having spent 14 years. This year I started 30 years ago working as a town council member, so I always have to give great deference to town supervisors like Richie Schaefer. I want to thank him for his leadership of this community. All the advocacy that he has, calling me nonstop for support for his community, but that's okay. That's what you're supposed to do. That's what I used to do. So I appreciate your friendship as well. And having a mayor here, my town had two mayors. One was population of 10,000, one was 3,000, so a little smaller communities. But Mayor Brown, what you are doing in the village of South Floral Park, I'm grateful for you. Thank you for stepping up and serving, as well as our state elected officials who are here today. I'm grateful to all of them and glad to be back in this great community. So, you know, my relationship does go back with the firefighting community 30 years, because when you're a brand new council member, you're asked to MC the fireman installation dinners. We had 10 installations every year, and I did this for 14 years. So as you can imagine, as the MC of many of these events, my jokes ran out after about year 7. So it always got to be a little bit hard, but I had a chance to, go to most of those 140 dinners, and it gave me a chance to see the pride that people had in their firefighters, their volunteer firefighters. None of them were paid. And also having a chance to listen firsthand to really their challenges. I mean, as the state was layering on more and more and more training requirements and certifications they had to do. I mean, people are forgetting that these people have families, they have real jobs to do, and this is something they do out of the goodness of their heart. And it seemed like everybody was making it so much more difficult, and I knew that recruiting was hard. Sometimes you have generational families. You know, grandpa was a firefighter, mom or dad was a firefighter, their children become firefighters, but it just was so much harder. And I knew that anything I could do to support this community, I would do then, and even as governor. And this has been a huge focus of mine as well, because your mission is critically important, and that's what I admire so much, are the selfless acts, the countless disruptions during dinner time, and the trying to watch your kids at the ballpark, and all the times the bell goes off, the alarm goes off, and you are the ones jumping up to serve. And I don't know that you get the credit you deserve. I don't know if a lot of people think about this in their everyday lives until you're the one that, like the ambulance and the fire truck that showed up when my daughter got hit by a car. She was fine, but here was his mom sitting at a town board meeting, get the message that, that your daughter's going to be fine, but, the first responders are taking good care of her. A lot of people don't think about it until you're in that situation. But when you're in that situation, your heart spills over with gratitude that your neighbors will step up and protect you and your family. So I want to thank you for that. It's also, as governor, proud to know we have 1,600 volunteer fire departments in the state of New York, 91,000 volunteer firefighters. I mean, those are huge numbers, and that's extraordinary. And I was just here in Suffolk County in August after the record rainfall. I mean, I don't want to bring up bad memories here, but that was horrific, what we experienced here. And I saw how our first responders are also having to step up more than the traditional, buildings and on fire and homes on fire and car crash and all. Now we're dealing with weather events, the likes of which we have not had to deal with in my lifetime. I don't recall any time that we've had such a continual bombardment of weather-driven events that are just destroying property and turning people's lives upside down. So our first responders are even more critical than ever before. So I'm just here to say thank you to all of Long Island's firefighters and let you know that I'm going to keep investing in your future. And I know you're always thinking about the next ones coming behind you and how we inspire them to hear the call that everyone can hear, but so few respond to. How do we get more people to feel that same passion and love of community that all of you here have? So I'll keep doing that. These are the greatest public servants. And what makes you so exceptional is not only this, the work you're doing, but also saves local communities and taxpayers a lot of money, right? I mean, they're not paying for a paid force, and that is something that I think is absolutely overlooked. So when we can use resources to help supplement what you do, that is so important. It's also taking care of your health and well-being. And sometimes you see humanity at its worst, or horrific scenes of, just tragedy. You're dealing with people who've lost perhaps a loved one, and you're the first face they see. That takes a very big toll on anyone who's human. I don't know that you can train for that experience. But your health and well-being is so important to me, which is why I signed into law legislation to assist firefighters and EMS workers who struggle with mental health challenges and addiction. And I think it's important we talk about this more openly. And it's about time. I'm doing a lot on mental health and really focus on this since I became governor, because I see the need is so great. And when I see statistics, we think about even our law enforcement. I mean, they've got some of the highest suicide rates in the nation, and it doesn't fall far to other first responders and those who put on a uniform dealing with the same stresses. And we can't just talk about it. We have to make sure there's resources and funding for that. And we have programs to help people get through this, as well as protecting their families as well. So I also want to make sure that becoming a firefighter is not a financial burden. I mean, why should it be so expensive for you to give up your time and resources here? So we're spending $10 million at the state level in the Volunteer Firefighting Training Stipend Program to help offset the costs of volunteer training, because you shouldn't have to pay to become a volunteer, right? And right now that program is serving over 100 students from 50 fire companies all across the state. But I want to today talk about some more investments we're making here on Long Island. First of all, it's about the fire academies, which are so important to us, making sure they have up-to-date technology and services. We're investing $300,000 into improve the training equipment at the Suffolk County Fire Academy. There you go. Because our volunteer firefighters deserve the best in training as well, so they can always improve their skills. Also investing $2 million to expand the South Floral Park Fire Department's training center. There you go, Mayor. There you go. Yeah. A lot of excitement about that, isn't there? When you deal with a budget the size I do, you think about what is $2 million. When I was in your shoes, $2 million was everything. That's less money I have to get from my taxpayers who are begging for relief all the time. And it's something you think about all the time in local office. Property taxes are too high. Do I really want to raise them to be able to do this? But we have to do this. So those are the struggles you deal with. It's something I live with for so long. It's still part of who I am as governor, which says to me, I want to support them directly. If they need $2 million, you're going to get $2 million. And this fire department is a model for all that is possible. It's that, I like to think of New Yorkers as being rather exceptional. I'm a little biased here, but it's that resiliency and the leadership skills and the dedication and the grit that we all have here in the state of New York, and put that to use and continue supporting the best training facilities. And this department was under threat of closure. I mean, can you imagine this community without its own fire department? It only had 20 members. And in 10 years turned into a thriving organization with 51 now, 51 dedicated volunteers. And it's beyond just South Floral Park, right? You're providing mutual aid and services to all the neighboring communities. I mean, this is the family that I so cherish when I see that selflessness, not just to support people in your own family, but also the neighboring communities. And that is something that we're just so known for here on Long Island. So there's so many things that we want to take care of, and I also want to let you know that you should deserve to have the facilities that match the caliber of the impact that you have on your community. But it's not just about the quality of the training as well. It's also about how we honor those who step up, to spread the message, to inspire others to come and know the stories that If they don't have a firefighter in their own family, they don't necessarily know what's involved. And truly, I'm going to keep using that word sacrifice because it is a sacrifice. It is your time. You never have free time because you're with the family, your job, or the family of the firefighters. And that's the path you've chosen, but it's not an easy one. And I want you to know we recognize that. So how do we honor our firefighters and let them know how crucial you are to our society? And why don't we just collect the stories of the firefighters, past, present, and those possibly in the future? Getting more young people excited about this. But you need a central place to do this, a Hall of Heroes. And there was a book written called Young Men in Fire. I'm going to change Young Women in Fire, too. He wrote a book about firefighting. Norman McLean, he said, often the best we can do with catastrophes, even our own, is to find out what happened and restore some of the missing parts. And this museum will help restore some of the missing parts, tell the stories that otherwise would have been obliterated by a fire. Pick up the pieces and talk about what the firefighters see when they arrive at a scene. And it preserves the local history, and it actually just educates the whole community and a gathering place for local residents. And most of all, again, to me, I've said it before, we have to inspire the next generation to follow in your footsteps. That is everything to me. And that's why that's why a firefighter museum is so important. So I'm proud to announce $3 million for the town of Babylon, who will work with the Babylon Fire Chiefs Association and not just build new, but how about repurposing an abandoned motel downtown and create a vibrant volunteer fire department museum. That's the vision I want to invest in. That's the vision. So not just honoring our heroes, but turning an eyesore into a gathering place and a community treasure. That's what smart money does. So to the firefighters here today, I know it's your sense of duty, it's your sense of responsibility and your commitment to serve that sets you apart. I've been to so many firefighter memorials, speak every single year. I can do that in Albany. When I was lieutenant governor, I never missed one. And I'm always walking away from that so aware that there are people that are so humble. They're not looking for praise. They're not looking to be called out. They don't think they're exceptional. They don't like the word hero. But to me, that's what makes them a hero. That's what makes them a hero. And I thank you for that. That you'll be there, that you're taking a place, that I will be there when my community needs this. I just wish there were more people like all of you, but you inspire me. Please know you inspire me. And so with that, I want to say you have the respect and the gratitude of not just this community, not just Long Island, but 20 million New Yorkers who are grateful for what you do every single day. Thank you. Thanks to all of you. With that, I'd like to introduce Supervisor of Babylon, Richie Schaefer, who we've known many, many years, and appreciate everything you do for us. Thank you.
How about a round of applause for our great governor, Kathy Hochul? I do have her on speed dial, and she's great about picking up on Sundays, which is when she's kind of in a really good mood, and that's how we got $3 million. So, but Governor, I have to thank you for coming here to the Deer Park Fire Department to join with all of these fine volunteers, and you've got a good cross-section of fire department and rescue personnel leadership throughout Suffolk County. I know County Executive Romaine will be very grateful for the money coming to the Fire Academy, as are the legislators. That's $300,000 less they have to find in the budget, as you said, and that's important because when you're dealing with all of the priorities, you want to make sure you take care of the most important, and obviously training at the Suffolk County Fire Academy is important. But I just want to address very briefly our important project here, because the governor touched on it, and why we held this event here in Deer Park was because it's going to become the new home of the Town of Babylon Firefighters and Rescue Personnel Fire Museum over on Comac Road in Deer Park. And that is a project that has been thought of, germinated, discussed, debated at the Town of Babylon Fire Chiefs Association over the years. Benny Lambertson, who's a fellow Mets fan, Start. You can clap for the Mets, right? But Benny and Jimmy Harrington Jr., Kenny Lang, who's here, Tommy Richardson, all got together to come up with this idea of a museum. And every meeting we would go to, Governor, any more updates on the museum, Rich, Tony, Terry, any more updates on the museum? Yeah, we're trying. And then all of a sudden we were lucky to get the county, and Presiding Officer Kevin McCaffrey's here, Jason Richburg, our minority leader, Tom Donnelly, who's also a former Deer Park Fire Commissioner, Sammy Gonzalez, Ann Welker, all of them got together and supported a $1.5 million grant that was issued last year toward this effort. And we said, well, that's great, 1.5 million, but how are we going to make up the difference? And so we knew we could turn to you. And as she has said, she and I have gotten to know each other over the years. The thing I like best about her is the fact that she knows local government. There have been former governors and people in elected office above us, above our pay grade here, who don't understand the importance of being close to your residents and being able to move things through town government. And her being a former town councilwoman was music to my ears, because I don't have to explain the needs. She gets it, and she got it on this one. And so Tony Martinez is here, our councilman, Deputy Supervisor Anthony Mineta, Terry McSweeney, Dwayne Gregory. I see Jerry Compatello, our town clerk. We are so grateful to you to bring this $3 million. In fact, I only thought it was going to be $1.5 million, but guess what? We'll take the $3 million, because you know what that's going to do? It's going to take the Deer Park Motel, which this fire department and surrounding departments have spent millions of hours going to respond to drug overdose calls, to domestic violence calls. It's a place that has well beyond its useful life, and it's a place that can be turned into a beautiful place, a place that will honor the accomplishments and all of the things that the fire service has done here in the town of Babylon. It'll be a kickoff for Melissa and the members of the Deer Park Chamber as we work on the revitalization of the main routes in Deer Park, including Comac Road. And the $3 million is going to put us over the top to be able to purchase the property and to start the demolition and the construction. So, Governor, thank you very much for that. And I want to thank our state legislators. Without their support, I know that you couldn't do it with what you do. And Senator Monica Martinez, who represents the Deer Park community, thank you. Assemblywoman Kimberly Jean-Pierre, who represents part of the Deer Park community, thank you. And Assemblyman Keith Brown, who represents part of the Deer Park community, thank you. So with that, yes, with that, I'm going to introduce our mayor and ask her to come forward. And a final thank you to you, Governor, and your team for putting this together this afternoon.
Wow, wow, and wow. Wow. Oh, wow. Great afternoon to each and every one of you, and I want to say great afternoon. I want to thank you all for being here this afternoon to witness what is such a historical moment for our community. On behalf of the Village of South Floral Park, I want to extend my deepest gratitude to Governor Kathy Hochul for this essential support, which will have a direct and lasting impact on our fire department, and more importantly, on the safety and well-being of our entire community. This funding is more than just a financial investment. It's an investment in our collective safety and security. It ensures that our brave first responders have the resources they need to continue life-saving work. I'd like to take a moment to recognize and thank Chief Kevin Bellamy. For over 31 years, you have served in countless capacity within our department. And when our department was facing low membership and even potential closure, you stepped up. You initiated a juniors program that didn't just save the department, but nearly tripled our membership over the past decade. Many of the young people you mentored and have gone on to successful careers as first responders. And this is a testament of your faith, your dedication, and your leadership. To Chief Merritt and Chief DeMattis, thank you for your steadfast support and contribution. You both have been instrumental in maintaining the strength and the resilience of our department. And to our volunteer firefighters and EMTs, your courage, your commitment, and trust in our leadership have been what has brought us to this very moment. To our board, our residents, as well as our members of the Fire Department Auxiliary, many of whom are here today, we are grateful. We are grateful for your commitment, as well as your yes for our community. I'd also like to thank Assemblywoman Michael Salages. Thank you for your ongoing support. And finally, Governor Hochul, with this critical funding, you have sent a clear and powerful message. You stand with our first responders, and you stand with the safety of the South Florida Park. By investing in the infrastructure of our fire department, you're not only upgrading our facilities, you are building the foundation our volunteer firefighters and EMTs need to protect us every single day. This is about more than bricks and mortar. It's about lives saved in the future that's safer for all of us. Together, we will continue to build a stronger, more resilient community, one that's ready to face any challenge head on. Thank you, Governor.
Everyone, please stay seated as the governor presents the checks and we take some photos. Thank you.